Morning.
Welcome to the Madhouse.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so you got Bo and Ball, and you got Blunt behind you. We got Balfe now in front of the microphone.
It's just a plethora of bees.
Max in on the mic. But of course, you've been in a bum fight with Christian Bale and Matt Damon. How was Le Mans 66 for you as an overall experience?
It was amazing. We filmed it last year in LA, which was also very cool to just be there because I'm normally in Scotland, freezing. It was just such a cool film. I mean, there's fast cars, awesome actors, and a great director. So
right now, I knew the story. I thought I knew the story. I knew the story of Ford taking on Ferrari. So Ford take on Ferrari because Henry Ford II tried to buy Ferrari off Enzo, and Enzo, because all Enzo Ferrari ever wanted to do was race. He was a racer himself. Then he realised he wasn't fast enough. So like Walt Disney realised he wasn't good enough at drawing. He employed people that could do what he wanted to do better than him, and he became the manager of it. So then he started to make Ferrari cars to sell to the public to fund his racing team. And you know, he always sort of. He had a certain antipathy to people who wanted to buy his cars on the road because he was just a racer. Then he was going bankrupt, and Ford heard about this, so they sent their top men over to Modena in Italy to try and buy Ferrari for $9 million at the time or whatever it was, and it nearly happened, but there was an issue with how much control Enzo would still have over his racing team, and Fiat agreed to give him everything he wanted and double the price, $18 million. Now, I knew all that, right?
I'm going to get you to do my press from now on. This is amazing.
I knew all that, and then Henry Ford said he was so angry that he said, okay, let's go and beat them in the race they loved the most, which is Le Mans, the Le Mans 24 Hours. And nobody came close to Ferrari for 3-4 years. Actually, 7 years with the Aston Martin in the middle, driven by Carroll Shelby, the DBR1 in 1953 and all that kind of nonsense. All that goes on. I know all that. That's how the film starts. But what I didn't know is the story of Ken Miles.
Amazing,
I
right?
hadn't even heard of him. And so you get this amazing story, Ford going to beat Ferrari on their home turf, even though it's in France and not Italy, and doing it, which we sort of all know about. But then this other blinking story. Ken Miles, played by Christian Bale, you play his wife. How much do you want to tell us about Ken's story?
I mean, it's amazing because I didn't know about it either. But, you know, here you have this kind of slightly on the spectrum guy who's from Sutton Coldfield, just outside Birmingham. And he was living in LA, and he was primarily a mechanic. And Carroll Shelby and him were great friends. And, you know, this guy sort of changed the course of racing history, especially for American teams. And he was lost to history. And so that's what's so great about this film, is that they've resurrected his memory. And, you know, one of the great things about doing this whole film was that I got to meet his son, Peter, who lives in California still, and got to spend quite a bit of time with him, talking to him about his parents and their relationship and their marriage, and but just his dad, and what an incredible pure racer he was, and how he was very much, you know, we have this beautiful scene in the film where Enzo Ferrari kind of tips his hat to Ken because they were both pure racers. And, you know, this is the thing about the film, is it's about the underdogs. Even though Ford bought over this kind of ragtag team, you know, Carroll Shelby and his racing team were underdogs. They were all about racing rather than this kind of corporate ideal of just selling cars.
So Ken, I mean, he's such a maverick, isn't he? He's his own worst enemy. He's a great dad. He's a fantastic dad. He's a fantastic husband. But, you know, he himself goes into bankruptcy because he just won't. He just doesn't.
Well, he just doesn't want to play the game.
He doesn't want to play any game. He doesn't want to even have the cards dealt in his favour, does he? He's just not at all interested. But how did he end up from Sutton Coldfield? How did he end up in Los Angeles?
Well, he had been a racer, and then he had served in the war. Right. And after the war, he was
a hero in the war.
He was a hero in the war.
Was he a tank driver?
I think so, yeah.
Didn't he drive his tank from France all the way to Berlin? I think he did.
He did.
I think he did. That takes some doing, doesn't it? With a mighty Hun on your back.
Yeah. But he and Molly then moved to California because I think they just wanted to start a new life. And he had this garage that he had, and he sort of raced on the side as a hobby. So, you know, him and Carroll Shelby knew each other through the racing circuit. And when Carroll needed to sort of bring this team together, there was only one guy he really wanted with him.
Yeah, you got to get him behind the wheel. If you want to win Le Mans, you can have all the car you like, but he says, doesn't he? There's a great line in it. Matt Damon's character says, you can't buy a win at Le Mans.
Yeah.
You can buy the chance to win, but you can't buy the win.
No, it's all about the car, the driver on the day.
Get the guy behind the wheel. Yeah. Unbelievable. And so you work with Christian Bale, and you work with Matt Damon. You work with other great actors and actresses in the past. But did you get to work with those bloody gorgeous cars.
Well, no, I had a country Squire. That's what I got to drive, which is
Did you
lovely
get to
wood
sniff
panels.
them, though?
I did. We got to see them. I mean, we had this incredible aircraft hangar that was just full of all the cars. I mean, we had millions and millions of dollars worth of cars on that set, which was quite incredible. I mean, the cars that they actually raced, I think most were kit cars because the actual real cars are too expensive to let actors and stuntmen throw around a racetrack. But it was incredible. I mean, they're just beautiful.
The Chris Evans Breakfast Show with Sky.